Now in the Locked On Celtics podcast, Jaylen Brown finishes about where he should have in the MVP voting, plus how the new lottery reform could impact the Boston Celtics offseason plans.
Rain J's, how we started raising business, how we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Big.
Hey there, welcome back to the show. I'm John Karalis. Lots to get to here on a Monday in the offseason, which is surprising. Normally, I would have done a mailbag today. I'm going to do the mailbag tomorrow. So if you have mailbag questions, submit them at johnkaralis.com/mailbag. That's johnkaralis.com/mailbag. I'll get to your questions in tomorrow's show because today there are a few things to get to. Later on in the third segment, we'll get to Payton Pritchard's extension, which is potentially going to be offered here. He is extension eligible. So I'll talk about what the number could be and why it makes sense. In the second segment, a potential side effect of new lottery reform, which is very likely coming, and how this could impact the Celtics offseason plans. Like, you wouldn't think the lottery reform would impact Boston because they're at the end of the draft, but and it's something I didn't think of until I read this. We'll get into the second segment because I think there is something significant there. But let's start at the top where a couple of things have happened. Number one, the Detroit Pistons just got demolished in the game 7 of their semifinal series against the Cavs. The Cavs win by 31 actually, and they're heading to the Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Knicks, which it's kind of funny. Sean Grande, who, by the way, was great. If you missed last week's shows, go check out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, big, long conversation with Sean Grande. But he tweeted out, like, we're right where we thought we would be. And honestly, it's so wild that we're here, right? It's, if we'd said in October, the Celtics are going to get bounced in the first round and the Cavs and the Knicks are going to meet in the conference finals, everybody would have probably said, yeah, okay, that makes sense. You would have hoped that maybe the Celtics could have got to the second round, but a first round loss in the 2-7 series for the Celtics made perfect sense. We didn't think it was going to be the Celtics as the 2. And then the Cavs and the Knicks meeting in the conference finals. Yeah, those were the consensus 2 teams coming in, that those were the favorites. And so it is kind of nuts that we got here with those 2 teams. Also, the Pistons lose at home, a game 7 at home, which, I'm not trying to excuse the Celtics because you're supposed to win at home, but home court really does seem to mean less than ever in the NBA. Home teams just keep losing left and right here in the NBA. A road team going on the road and winning a playoff game, multiple playoff games, that's not outrageous anymore. So I say this just to say that the Celtics are not alone in that. It does not excuse them. They should win. They have been favored in all of these home losses in these past few years. So I'm not sitting there saying like, oh, well, yeah, no, of course. Now it makes all perfect sense. No, they were favored. They should have won. They've blown leads in all of those. It's just wild to me that so many home teams, like the Celtics, are not alone in this. And it just makes you wonder, why are all these home teams losing? Is it an attitude that a lot of these teams have now? These players nowadays in the NBA don't have the same kind of, I don't know. Do they relax too much? Do they? I don't. It feels like there are, and this wasn't the case in this one, but it feels like there are a lot of blown leads. It feels like there's a lot of mistakes. There's nothing is safe anymore. It's weird that the home court has become so meaningless. Is this a function of the new collective bargaining agreement that there's no real talent, that the teams that had home court, I think in the past were so good that a 2-7 matchup meant a lot more than it did. A 3-6 meant a lot more than it does now. So maybe Adam Silver's dream of parity is something that is coming to fruition, and it's impacting these series. Home court is not an automatic win anymore. So it's something to kind of look at and discuss. And I'm not sure what the real answer is, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. So congratulations to the Cavs for getting to the conference finals. They may actually be fairly well suited to take on the Knicks. They have size that can match up with Karl Anthony Towns. They have perimeter defense, and they're going up against James Harden. And, Donovan Mitchell has never been to the conference finals. It's going to be an interesting kind of series there. So very much worth watching. The other piece of news in this first segment here is the MVP voting, where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the MVP, 83 first-place votes. Nikola Jokic was second. Victor Wembanyama was third. Luka Dončić, fourth. Cade Cunningham, fifth. Jaylen Brown finishes sixth. So, number one, I just feel like that's the appropriate place for him to finish. Fifth or sixth, it doesn't really matter. Cade Cunningham got a couple of first-place votes. He had a great season. Obviously, Detroit was the top seed. And you look at how things went in the playoffs, they obviously got performances that were better than some of the playoff performances, but his supporting cast, he seemed to raise a few of these games. So that's fine. Luka Dončić at fourth, he had a stronger finish to the season, and the Lakers kind of came around at the end, and he was a big part of that. He had a kind of a weak start to the season. I think that he was probably fifth or sixth in MVP at the beginning of the season, and maybe below that. Maybe he wasn't even in the MVP picture, and he kind of rose up. He's one of those guys that people are looking for a reason to give him MVP votes. He's just a perennial kind of contender for the MVP. So what he ended up getting was almost all of the fourth place votes, and that's why he ended up fourth. He got 0 first place votes. He got 1 second place vote, just like Jaylen did. He got 8 third place votes to Jaylen's 2. It's just he got 60 fourth place votes, and so he ended up fourth. So I'm not really gonna make a stink over it. Jaylen, for what it's worth, was on his live stream, on his Twitch stream, and he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about the voting. Not that I saw. I watched the first 20 some odd minutes. He was yelling at Stephen A. Smith, which was kind of funny. Once he started talking about Drake's album, I said, that's it. I'm checking out here. I'm not a big Drake fan. I'm also almost 53. I'm not supposed to be a big Drake fan. My hip hop is late 80s, 90s hip hop. That's my wheelhouse. Some of the new guys for sure, but you're not going to catch me listening to Drake, which I'm sure Drake's going to be like, cool, I don't want you as a fan. So whatever. But anyway, that's where I checked out of the stream. But Jaylen didn't seem to be bothered by any of the voting. Look, to get 6th in the MVP, that's great. And does it mean that he's going to get second team All NBA? It probably does, with Luka and Cade now being eligible. It probably means he's going to be a second team All NBA guy, which I think he should be first. I think he should be a first team All NBA. I would probably put Cade in the first team and Jaylen and bump Luka down just for the entirety of the season. I don't think Luka had a great overall season. I think he had a great finish to the season, but I don't think if you take everything in totality, I don't think Luka's entire season was as good. Like he had a higher peak, but I think consistently Jaylen was better for more of it. So I would reward Jaylen with a first team All NBA. We'll see how it goes. Maybe if you look at where people are sitting with the voting, I don't know. It probably means he's going to be second team All NBA, which is going to spark some debate. It's going to make for some conversation. Honestly, not to go all Joe Mazzulla on you, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares, because when the Hall of Fame comes around and Jaylen Brown gets introduced, they're going to be like, he's a 4-time All NBA guy, whatever he's going to be by the time he retires, 4 or 5, whatever. So they're not going to be like, well, he made the All NBA, but he never made first team. No one's ever going to say that. Really, he's going to be like whatever the total was, 3-time, 4-time, 5-time All NBA, and that's it. End of story. Wipe your hands of it. No one cares about what the teams are. All you care about is you make it. You're one of the top 15 players in the league that year. You can sit there and say he was the 6th best player. You can take solace in that, there wasn't a crazy Kawhi vote. Kawhi got no 1, 2, 3, 4 place votes. He got 1 5th place vote. Donovan Mitchell 1 5th place vote. So no kind of weirdness there. Jaylen kind of settled where he should settle. 6th in the MVP voting, which to me is fine. You want to put him above Cade? Fine. You want to put him above Luka? Fine. At that point, we know what the big 3 in the MVP was: Shea, Jokic, Wemby. After that, just, juggling. So whatever. Congratulations to Jaylen, though, who had a great season, and the fact that his name is in there, he was able to put his name in the conversation, is very impressive, and he deserves the accolades. You want to be mad about where he is. It's also a compliment to him because he had that kind of season. That's fine. I'm not going to. Doesn't matter to me. I think this is acknowledgement enough that he had a great season. When I come back, the new lottery odds, this flattened 3-2-1 system, when you sat there and my initial reaction was like, doesn't matter right now for the Celtics. Actually, it does. And I'll tell you why when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. If you have a sweet tooth, you want to get that new 5 Hour Energy Confetti Craze shot, because it brings a nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. It's a classic taste that you remember, right? With a tasty caffeine boost and 0 sugar. That's the best part. Quick, easy way to satisfy a sweet craving and keep things simple and on the go. Birthday cake. Who doesn't love birthday cake, right? But you can't be eating sweets all day, so this is a perfect alternative, right? You want to have a piece of birthday cake at 2 p.m. No. What you want is the Confetti Craze 5 Hour Energy Shot. Tastes just like a birthday cake. Vanilla, buttery flavors. Lets you be unapologetically extra and unstoppably energized. It's all cake, no sugar. So make it a go-to when you want something sweet without going overboard, and it gives you that kick. And very easy to get. You can go to 5hourenergy.com. That's the number 5hourenergy.com, and crack open a Confetti Craze 5 Hour Energy Shot today, or you can pick them up on Amazon. Today's show also brought to you by Indeed. You've got workplace chaos, you got deadlines stacking up, and you still have to hire one person, one open spot. Do what the pros do. Do what the NBA teams do. When they need a player, they find the players who fit the certain skills that they're looking for. There's boxes to be checked. You can check them with Indeed sponsored jobs. Get the skills, experience, location that you're looking for in a candidate, so you're not just hoping the right person stumbles across your post. In this minute that I'm talking to you, companies like yours will make 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. That saves you stress, it saves you time, and it gets you more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. You will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Make sure you support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. It's a Monday through Friday podcast. I will be dropping bonus podcasts throughout the week, little mini mailbags here and there, especially as the questions come rolling in. Still have a lot of questions here, so check those out. The show is available everywhere. It's on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Join me. I'm John Karalis. I'm a beat writer covering the Celtics for Sports Illustrated's Celtics on SI. I've been covering the team for about 20 years now. I've been doing this podcast for 10. So thank you for being an everydayer and joining me on this journey. That's what I tried to say. So there's a really great story on the new lottery odds. It's in The Athletic. It's by Sam Amick and Mike Vorkunov, talking about this 3-2-1 proposal. It's the short version is a lot of flattened lottery odds. Teams that are in the play-in get involved, and that makes it possible that teams that are moderately good could get a shot at a top pick. And one thing, and I will read directly from the piece, which is again on The Athletic, teams could be reticent to trade firsts, even if they project the team that owns it would have a record outside one of the league's 10 worst. While a team that picked 16th has no shot at a top 3 pick right now, for example, they would have a better shot at number 1 in the coming years, 2.7%, than the Dallas Mavericks did last year when they won the right to draft Cooper Flagg, 1.8%. So, and then this line, another assistant GM bemoaned that this system would take even more control out of a team's hands in how to rebuild. And this is important for the Celtics because if teams are less likely to trade firsts, the Celtics might be less likely to trade future firsts because at some point you can go right now, the Celtics have a little bit of a complicated pick situation because they owe pick swap to the Spurs next year. So we don't know if the Spurs are going to swap. Chances are they will because the Spurs will be very good. And even if the Celtics are also very good, they'll probably be worse than the Spurs. And so, but however it goes, it goes. They still can't trade that pick. It's committed. They have a frozen pick that's going to be unfrozen after another year, I think, out of the second apron. So they're kind of stuck right now, but in a while, they're going to start potentially trading out first-round picks. But if the Celtics project themselves to be a middle-of-the-pack team, like this year, like they going into this season, yeah, they won 56 games. But going into the season, they kind of projected to be a middle-of-the-pack 42, 44, 45 win team. If you project the team out like that and you say, yeah, that we still could land, we have odds in the 16th to get a number 1 pick. You have odds now where you didn't in the past. And you don't want to give up that opportunity. What if you kind of get lucky? The protections, I don't know how the protections, you're going to make sure that you protect certain picks a certain way. Other teams are not going to want those protections. First round picks are going to be tough to trade. If they do get traded, the protections could get weird. And it just, as the Celtics are trying to build around Tatum and Brown now, this could kind of change how things happen, what moves can be made. Are the Celtics ever going to have to attach a first round pick to move salary? Is another team going to have to attach a first round pick to move salary to Boston in certain deals? And would that team now say, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. It could mean the difference between making a move and not making a move, which could hinder Boston's chances to move further up and get better players. And if they don't get those better players, that means playoff failures, you can see how the ball is rolling here, right? So this new lottery system, by flattening all the odds, could have this unintended effect of stalling some of the league business that has actually honestly fueled some of their most popular content. People love the transaction stuff. People love trades and free agency. Some of the most popular things I write end up being trade things or free agency things, especially at this point when you're looking ahead and you start listing some names. People love to see how the team's going to be put together moving forward, especially like a team like the Celtics, where they had that first round debacle, and you wanted players are going to move. Everybody knows players are going to move, and fans, you want to see like, okay, well, who's it going to be? You have one opinion of how things should go. The other person listening has their opinion of how things should. I have mine of how things should go. And we're all waiting to see, well, which one of us is right? Who's going to be closest? If you depress any of that stuff, the league might fix some of the tanking, but you could be creating a problem. So I'm not saying outright right now, I think this is going to hurt the Celtics, because I've only just, over the past few hours started to process, because, Sam and Mike wrote this story and I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Teams, I didn't think of it from a teams trading those picks away. Well, if the odds are flat and everybody kind of in that middle has the same or similar odds, why would you give up those picks? And if you're a good team looking to acquire that, how does that impact what moves you could make? The Celtics could be stuck in 2-3 years. My initial reaction is either the Celtics bite the bullet and say, we'll trade this pick in 2 years when we think we'll be okay, but maybe it's like the tail end of Jaylen Brown's effectiveness, or however things shake out. There's a pick there where the Celtics could move it and say, okay, we're going to do a win now move. And then that pick becomes the first overall pick. And you now have that potential for, oh my God, I can't believe the Celtics traded the first overall pick for, veteran X, who at the time felt like he was going to be a good player, but you would much rather have the number 1 overall pick. Those are the types of things. Those are the types of scenarios that could be very difficult to handle and could make a GM gun shy. Like, you do not want to be the GM who makes a deal for, I don't know, let's just say it's like a Miles Turner type of deal where he's the type of guy that you're looking for. You roll the dice, you trade a first round pick because that's just kind of the price for taking the chance on this guy. I'm just spitballing here. That level of player. I'm not advocating for Miles Turner here. Don't aggregate me and say Karalis suggests Miles Turner. No, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just saying that like that level of player, specifically chose that level of player because he has the potential to be a difference maker, but it could also not work out. And if it doesn't work out and that pick becomes a great pick, it becomes very much, oh my God, you gave away this number 1 pick for this guy. This pick ended up being a number 1 pick for, in Brad Stevens doesn't want to be that guy. No GM wants to be that guy. So the value of a first round pick is changing, and that's going to change how these transactions are done. So just something to think about, I'm going to start like discussing some of this stuff and thinking it through and really taking on the impact of this, especially once it passes. All right, let's get to one other order of business today, and that's the potential for a Payton Pritchard extension. Some of that news came out recently. We'll do that when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. There is nothing like being at a game live. The intensity, the crowd, the rivalries, completely different experience when you're in the building, especially when you're a road team like a lot of those Cleveland fans were in Detroit. It's not the longest drive in the world, and you could be one of those fans next season when you open up the Game Time app. You can get it even if you wanted to get into one of those hard to get playoff games. Look, they're going to be playing at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Do you want to make the drive? Do you want to get that short trip to New York and get into a playoff game? Go check out Game Time. And with the Game Time guarantee, you're getting 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. You can, number one, when you see the price on those tickets, that's the price that you pay. The seat view feature is a game changer. You can see what your view is going to be like before you buy. The zone deal is great. You can save some money by just picking a section and they'll pick out the tickets for you. And with the lowest price guarantee and ticket coverage, you can feel confident every time you're buying tickets. So take the guesswork out of it all with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON, LOCKED, locked on, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Today's show also brought to you by Kalshi. Playoffs really gearing up now. It's the most electric time in basketball. And on Kalshi, you can trade every single playoff game, every series, conference finals, and the championship. Let's go check out Kalshi right now and see that the Oklahoma City Thunder in game one, 69% to win. And that means you put 100 down on that. Payouts 141.84. So, whoops, nope, don't want to press that button. So you can check it out on Kalshi. Basically, what Kalshi does is it runs like a stock market, a stock exchange, where you buy you're trading against peers. So there's no house. As the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So you can buy a position now and get out of it as the odds change. If you make a couple bucks before the game even starts, you can do that. Go to Kalshi, use the code locked on Kalshi. You get $10 when you trade 10, KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on anything. It's 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. If you're here with me every day, now's the time to make it official. Join the Locked On Everyday Club. You get ad-free audio, member access to our members-only Discord, and more, all built for our most loyal fans. That's you. Check it out, lockedonceltics.supercast.com, lockedonceltics.supercast.com. $5 for the year or $50. I'm sorry, $5 a month, $50 for the year. So check it out, lockedonceltics.supercast.com. Got to make sure I get that right. All right, so one other order of business here. It comes from Sean Devaney on heavy.com, who suggests that Payton Pritchard is going to be offered a 3-year extension somewhere around $67 million. So that starts off just north of 20 million, somewhere around 21 million, and goes for 3 years. So Pritchard is under contract this upcoming season for 7.7 million, and then next season 8.3 million. And what this extension would avoid is him going into free agency in the 28-29 season. So he is currently 28 years old. His birthday's in January. So he'll turn 29 this season and 30 the season after. So the Celtics, if they do offer a 3-year extension, would be for his 31, 32, and 33 year old seasons. So that, if I'm Payton Pritchard, I'm taking that deal. And it's suggested in the piece that maybe he doesn't want to take that deal in 2-3 years, that you might want to go into free agency, the numbers change, the cap changes, all of that stuff. For a small guard who, again, he's 28 now. He turns 29 this season and then 30 the next season. At 30 years old, a 6'2", 6'3" guard, whatever, 6'1" guard, whatever he is I'm not so sure that a guy his size at that age wants to be testing free agency, even if maybe he could make a little bit more. Taking the guaranteed $67 million, if that's the offer for Pritchard, that would make perfect sense. Maybe you make 30. What do you make instead? You make 30 something million. Is that worth the risk of the 67 million not being on the table in 2 years? That's the thing you have to worry about. So my feeling is that if the Celtics do actually offer a deal in that 67 million, 3 years, 67 million, Pritchard should jump on that. I don't even know if I would offer that, to be honest with you, because of his age, because at that time, I don't know if I would offer something north of 60 million, 3 years, 60 million, because I would just say, here's 3 years, 20 million a year, take it flat, no raises. 20 million a year. For Payton Pritchard, that would be incredible. That would help the Celtics because you wouldn't have a balloon year his third season at 24, 25. It'd be pretty even. You want to make sure, as the cap goes up, the more salaries that you have that stay at the same level or somehow descend, if you can get somebody to do that, that's helpful because it just increases how much room you have at the top. So, and that's also not money that you're taxed on, right? So instead of 24 million year 3 or whatever it would be, it's 20, and it's just less money that you'd be taxed on at that point. So anyway, point is, I'm not so sure I would go full 67 million, but okay, say they do, whatever, $7 million. They're like, yeah, whatever. How it helps the Celtics, aside from locking in the sixth man of the year, even as he ages and gets into his early 30s, and maybe starts to lose some of his effectiveness, to have a salary in that 20 million range is very, very necessary for potential trades. So even if you're sitting there on the cusp of is that too much for Pritchard? I think to have a player who has value that is making 20 million, that's important, especially as Derrick White starts to age out as well. So Derrick makes 30 million next year, 32.5 the year after, and then has a player option in 28, 29 for about 35. Well, that third year of Derrick White and Payton Pritchard, if Pritchard's making 20, that's 55. You're talking about $55 million. Very effective amount of money to have if you're looking to make trades. So I think from a business perspective, having a player locked up long-term is helpful. A team taking a guy in, you know what you're trading for, you know you're going to keep them. You have a longer-term kind of situation there. You're obviously keeping the player happy. The agent is going to be happy, and that's CAA Sports is his agency. They handle a lot of people, so keep the agents happy. You know, it helps out, right? You want to make sure you have good relationships with them as well. So I think that an extension, I would keep it at 20 million a year max, but another $7 million is not the end of the world. So if that's what the Celtics end up offering him, that would be fine. I think just for, yes, some stability, but also to have tradable salary. That's an important number to have on your books if you're looking to make a trade. So I would say that works business-wise for the Celtics as well. Jaylen Brown's also extension eligible. We'll talk about that at some point this week because that's an interesting debate as well because he's now pushing 30. He's 30 this upcoming season. He turns 30 in October. So 30, 31, 32, his extension will kick in at 33. That's a debate for another show. We'll save that conversation. So that will be coming up this week as well. Again, mailbag tomorrow. So it's johnkaralis.com/mailbag. Get your questions in. Thank you for listening. I do appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday. I'll bring in more guests. We'll start to really plot out this offseason. Lots of business to take care of. And obviously we'll be watching the rest of the league as well. So stick with me wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen on your way to work, on your way home. I'll have bonus podcasts throughout the week as well. And then I would love it. Please share the podcast. Spread the word. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.